What's going on, gamers? It's Phil H here from Beneath the Veil, and welcome back to the channel. Break is one of the least well understood status effects in the game, though it frequently comes in helpful when dealing with certain heroes. Currently, the only source of breakthrough itemization comes from buying a Silver Edge, though there are numerous skills and talents which enable certain heroes to gain access to the break condition as well. In this video, we'll first break down Silver Edge and go over its active ability. Then we'll quickly discuss every hero who gains access to the break condition through their skills, talents, or purchasing an Aghanim Shard or Scepter. From there we'll discuss how the break mechanic works and its various interactions with Debuff Immunity, and finally we'll look over some of the heroes which break is strongest against, as well as a few it can have mixed success with. Feel free to use the chapters to jump around this video if you're already aware of certain topics. As a reminder, for those who struggle to understand my New Zealand accent or just struggle with English in general, please feel free to enable closed captions and let us know in the comments if you'd like additional languages added into our closed captions ecosystem. With all that said, let's get into the item breakdown. As of 7.37e, Silver Edge costs 5,450 gold and is made up of a Shadow Blade, a Demon Edge, and a 250 gold recipe. It grants 60 damage and 35 attack speed. Once upgraded, players gain access to an upgraded version of the Shadow Walk ability that you initially get through the Shadow Blade purchase. With this version of the spell, players can activate the item to turn the hero invisible for a maximum of 17 seconds. This invisibility can be broken early by attacking or casting a spell. During the invisibility, heroes receive an additional 25% movement speed and have phased movement, allowing them to move through other units. Importantly, attacking to end the invisibility will deal 300 bonus physical damage and breaks the unit, disabling most passive abilities for 6 seconds. The duration of this source of break was increased from 5 to 6 seconds in 7.36c. Do note that casting most spells to end the invisibility will not cause the break condition to be applied. However, some heroes can use abilities that are tied to their physical attacks to end the invisibility and still provide the break condition, such as Tusk with Walrus Punch and Drow Ranger with Frost Arrows. Legion Commander's Duel does not apply the break condition despite the spell being tied to Legion Commander attacking her enemy, so it's always worth testing if you're considering utilizing the item with a particular hero in order to know your order of skill execution to make use of the break. With that covered, let's now discuss every hero who gains access to the break condition through their skills. There is only one hero who gains the ability to access the break condition through their facet choices, that being Chaos Knight with Irrationality. Since the break is currently a 33% chance for a 3-second break through each cast of Reality Rift, its inconsistency has led to it being a facet not often picked when compared to the strength of its Phantasmagoria facet. However, in games where Break, Disarm, and Silence are equally valuable, and strong illusions aren't required, this could be worth considering. Shin and Enchantress both gain access to Hill Troll Berserkers through their Holy Persuasion and Enchant abilities at level 1, so can leverage the Berserker's 3-second break with a single point in each of their skills, provided they can find a neutral camp to dominate. Do keep in mind, since this is a level 1 creep with a low attack range, that it is a reliable source of break in the early game but quickly becomes unreliable as heroes grow in level and can quickly kill off creeps. Doom can use Devour on the Hill Troll Berserker to consume the creep and learn the ability for himself, tying the 3-second break to his first attack every 10 seconds. Hoodwink gains 2 sources of break, the first being accessed through her ultimate Sharpshooter. Depending on the channel time of Sharpshooter, the duration of the break scales up to a max duration of 5 seconds. To ensure you have the max debuff duration, listen out for the audio cue of Hoodwink's crossbow locking the bolt before firing off the projectile. Or look to your lower HUD to see the Sharpshooter buff icon hit 100. When Hoodwink gets her Scepter ability Decoy, she's able to make herself invisible and leave behind a basic illusion which begins channeling a Sharpshooter ultimate. If that illusion is not destroyed, it releases a Sharpshooter at a random enemy and deals reduced damage. However, the break duration is unaffected. This makes it possible for Hoodwink to chain together 2 Sharpshooters for a total 10-second break duration. Viper gains access to the break condition through his ultimate Viper Strike, a single target spell which heavily damages and slows the unit, while also applying a break. This break duration is 6 seconds. When Phantom Assassin gains her Aghanim Shard ability Fan of Knives, she is able to activate it to apply a 3-second break to units in a small area of effect around her while also damaging them. As of 7.37, Nyx Assassin can now access break earlier by gaining the Aghanim Shard, which provides a 4-second break on hit from Vendetta. Primal Beast gains access to an upgraded version of his basic skill Uproar when gaining an Aghanim Scepter, which causes him to release a series of projectiles that strike enemies around him and break them for a duration. With max stacks on the ability, Primal Beast is able to break units around him for a combined 5-second duration. Shadow Demon also gains a break through Aghanim Scepter, however in this case it's tied to his ultimate Demonic Purge. Shadow Demon gains an additional charge of Demonic Purge alongside it also breaking the unit. If chaining the 2 charges together, it allows Shadow Demon to break a unit for a combined 12-second duration. Shadow Shaman gains access to a break through his level 15 talent, which provides a 2.9 second break to whichever unit is affected by his Hex ability when maxed. Similarly, Doom gains access to a break on his ultimate Doom through a level 25 talent, allowing his break to last for 16 seconds. Naga Siren also has a level 25 talent, which allows Ensnare to apply a 5-second break. Now that we've discussed all the heroes that can gain access to break, let's discuss the mechanic itself. The easy way to think of break is the same as a silence, but for passive skills. It stops enemies who usually rely on a passive ability to help them in some way from temporarily benefiting from it. Some abilities, like Ursa's Fury Swipes or Legion Commander's Moment of Courage, are passive abilities that the hero relies on in order to kill you, whereas other passive skills like Bristleback's Bristleback, Centaur War Runner's Retaliate, or Tidehunter's Kraken Shell are defensive passives that those heroes rely on to defend themselves while damaging you in the process. By breaking these passives, you open up windows to be able to kill heroes you might not otherwise be able to deal with. As of 7.37, Valve have changed the interface of skills and innate abilities to list as part of the spell description whether they are breakable. If so, you can hold Alt while hovering over the skill, and in most cases the extended description will tell you how break affects these skills. Do take note that a hero affected by the break condition does not have any passive abilities associated with their items taken away from them. The break condition is solely applied to passive hero abilities. As we move on, we need to note a very important thing. In most cases where break is attached to a spell effect, dispelling the main effect through a basic or strong dispel via items or abilities will also dispel the break. The break applied by Silver Edge is only dispelled by Black King Bar, however. Nothing else, including strong dispels, will remove it. As we can see here, using Lifestealer as an example, he is displaying a healing value through his innate Feast ability. If we use a dispellable effect to break a Lifestealer who has either Rage or Unfettered, then he will use those skills to outright dispel the break and begin healing again. When we use the break from a Silver Edge, however, we can see that when Lifestealer uses Rage, he begins to heal again, but our debuff bar still shows the duration of the applied break. When using Unfettered, we can see that the break persists through the strong dispel, and Lifestealer does not heal. In this case, Rage is not dispelling the break from Silver Edge, but is just suppressing the effect due to how Debuff Immunity works. We can see the same thing happening if an ally Omni Knight applies Repel to Lifestealer. The Repel does not dispel as part of the effect, but provides Debuff Immunity, though the break is still technically applied, but is just suppressed for the duration of Repel. The only exceptions to break being dispelled outright by BKB or other dispels are Viper's Viper Strike, Shadow Demon's upgraded Demonic Purge, and Doom's upgraded Doom with his level 25 talent, since all three effects are undispellable. Since these three effects also pierce debuff immunity, they still apply their break through any source of debuff immunity as well. Shadow Shaman's break through Hex can't be dispelled by the Hexed hero unless they have an Aeon Disc which passively procs, or if an ally of theirs has a strong dispel they can apply to purge the Hex effect, so the break is also removed, making it nearly impossible to remove in the majority of games. Nyx Assassin's break through Vendetta is dispellable, but pierces debuff immunity. So, if a hero uses their debuff immunity early, Nyx can quickly apply break afterwards in order to counterplay it. Naga Siren can have a break through a level 25 talent pierce debuff immunity through leveraging her Aghanim Scepter effect, while Hoodwink can also access a talent at level 25 which allows Sharpshooter to pierce debuff immunity and apply the break condition, though these breaks are still dispellable. Since break is a purgeable effect in most cases, it usually needs to be paired with some other source of utility in order to find value. If the enemy's source of dispel is tied to an activatable skill like Lifestealer's Rage, then a silence works well. However, if they have one of the 8 activatable items which give them an on-demand basic dispel, then Hex is your better answer to ensure some duration of your break can actually be capitalized on, since Hex disables both activatable hero abilities and items. If you're finding this video helpful along with the other videos on our channel, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. It's a small gesture which costs you nothing but helps us immensely. Thank you to the over 10,000 of you that have helped us hit such a significant milestone, and thanks in advance to those of you who haven't yet for taking a moment to consider joining our community. Let's get back to it. Though the break mechanic is a powerful tool, it's never your only option in dealing with certain heroes, even against the heroes it's strongest against. There's the old adage of, if all you have is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. The same is true here. While break is one strong way to deal with a number of heroes, it's never the only solution. Please keep that in mind as we move forward, and remember this is just one of the many tools you can gain through itemization. As you can see, there are many heroes who have some of their utility disabled by the break condition, but aren't heavily hindered as a result. Beastmaster, for example, can have his inner beast aura disabled by break, and can have his ability to gain more charges of Drums of Slum also disabled, though he still gets max charges when using Primal Roar, so he's not overly concerned by being broken for a short duration. Similarly, a hero like Muerta can have a gunslinger passive disabled by break, though she still has the capability to deal damage to her primary target. Phoenix can be broken to disable both his stacking mischance through his blinding stun innate ability, along with the AoE burn of his dying light facet, though the majority of Phoenix's power is in all of his activatable abilities. If there are any other heroes in this group you'd like information on, please check the in-game tooltips first and let us know in the comments below if you need further clarification and we'll happily help you. Heroes like Axe, Bristleback, Dragon Knight, Primal Beast, Tidehunter, and Timbersaw are all tanks who utilize passives to become harder to kill. Heroes like Broodmother, Lifestealer, Lone Druid, Luna, Necrophos, Razor, and Riki mainly use their passive skills to kill you instead, though there is a blend of aggressive and defensive passive skills between many of these heroes. While Break massively alleviates their pressure and allows you to either kill them or kill their allies around them, you usually require other utility in order to adequately fight them rather than being able to rely on Break completely. Such as with Bristleback, being able to disable his reduced damage when attacked from the back and sides is helpful, so long as you have the means to stop him running away with the built-up stacks of Warpath he may have already generated. Again, if you'd like further clarification on these heroes, read the in-game tooltips first and we'll be happy to answer any further clarifying questions from there. While this selection of heroes may seem a bit odd at first, here we can see a series of heroes who are nearly entirely crippled by being broken along with a single piece of utility. In most cases, breaking these heroes ruins multiple parts of their kit, or robs them of an essential passive which the hero is somewhat built around. Phantom Assassin has her ability to gain critical strikes as well as her ability to evade strikes, both disabled by break, whereas Abaddon has the passive activation of his ultimate Borrowed Time, disabled by break along with other things like his on-hit effects through Curse of Avernus, and his innate Withering Mist, which as we've shown in the past, makes it possible to kill Abaddon without his ultimate ever having a chance to activate, through combining break with a well-timed cast of Hex or Silence. Other heroes like Dawnbreaker, Drow Ranger, Shadow Fiend, Slardar, and Sniper all have one or two key passive skills which are central to their hero disabled by break, which can give you a huge amount of breathing room in niche situations. Underlord has his Atrophy Aura disabled by break, which stops him from limiting your team's damage output and temporarily prevents him from utilizing the additional damage he gains when units die near him during a fight. It takes a touch of lateral thinking with the right draft to realize that you can break Underlord in order to nuke down his highest damage ally before his aura kicks back in again. Read the in-game tooltips, and if there are any heroes you'd like further clarification on, we're happy to help in the comments. There are a handful of carry heroes who can be heavily hindered by break in the early stages of the game, but as the game goes later, they accrue more and more dispels which makes keeping them broken much more difficult. These are the matchups where Viper and Shadow Demon or Scepter can truly shine, due to their breaks being undispellable and accessible relatively early into the game. Anti-Mage loses the benefits of Mana Break when broken in combination with losing the bonuses of Mana Thirst if he has taken that facet. Removing the bonus damage he gains through Mana Thirst as well as True Sight of any low mana target can be huge in slowing down his earlier game impacts and continuing to apply pressure and kill threat on him while he lacks sufficient items to effectively fight back. Applying Break to AM also negates the passive magic resistance he gains through Counterspell, and in addition disables his new innate ability Persecutor, which enables him to slow enemies on attack based on how much mana they're missing. As the game progresses and his cooldown cycles become shorter, it becomes harder and harder to pin down and effectively deal with Anti-Mage in later game situations, unless he overcommits. Slark is known for being one of the most elusive heroes in the game, as his entire kit is built around not being able to be kept in one place for a long time. By breaking Slark, you disable many things. Firstly, his innate ability Barracuda is disabled by break, meaning if he uses his ultimate ability Shadow Dance or his shard ability Depth Shroud to become undetectable, he will not benefit from the bonus movement speed and most importantly the HP regeneration bonuses. If he takes a Dark Reef Renegade facet in order to have the bonuses linger after being revealed to you while on his own, breaking him will immediately halt these bonuses so his regen values upon initiation aren't as high. Most importantly, breaking Slark will suppress his ability to gain additional temporary stacks of agility through hitting heroes, meaning if he is trying to fight back, breaking him can be an effective way to stop him climbing in power. Due to many sources of break being dispellable, Dark Pact alone makes keeping a break active on Slark difficult enough in most cases. As the game progresses and Slark builds more and more items such as BKB, Disperser, and Satanic, it can become near impossible to keep the break condition applied to Slark along with the various lockdown utilities needed to be leveraged against him to take him out. Slark is a prime candidate for a Silver Age break due to BKB being the only way to remove it, which is somewhat a counterplay to all of his low cooldown dispels he generally enjoys leveraging. Keeping Slark players constantly on a knife's edge about whether they have to burn a BKB cooldown or not is often what can force game losing mistakes in the mid game and even in late game scenarios when he is at his strongest. Troll Warlord is heavily reliant on passive abilities in order to dominate a game. By breaking Troll Warlord, you do a couple of things. Firstly, you prevent the chance to ensnare a target through his melee form of Berserker's Rage from ever occurring, as well as his maim and ranged form, which slows enemy, meaning your team remains free to move around and kite him continuously. Secondly, breaking Trollwaller temporarily restricts him from gaining additional stacks of fervor against the target. This is exceptional when considering that his most picked facet Insensitive grants Troll armor based on how many stacks of fervor he has built up. This means he is much more susceptible to being killed while broken if he hasn't built up many stacks of fervor. As the game goes on and he builds more and more dispels such as BKB, Satanic, his Scepter upgrade to dispel enemies as well as himself, and even his 25 talent which allows him to cast Battle Trance while under any effect other than silences or hexes, it becomes harder and harder to keep him broken outside of Silver Edges and Debuff Immunity piercing breaks, and near impossible to keep him pinned down in general. In a similar vein, Ursa can be demolished by breaks in the earlier stages but becomes harder and harder to deal with as the game goes on. By breaking Ursa, you prevent him from being able to build further stacks of Fury Swipes on a target, which totally guts his damage output as Fury Swipes is the pillar on which he builds around, using Overpower to quickly build stacks up. Another strategy is playing around dispelling Ursa's Overpower so he can't build up stacks quickly, which also falls apart in the later game stages. With the game going later, most sources of break get dispelled by Ursa's itemization, and obtaining a Scepter upgrade allows him to cast Enrage during any disable other than hexes or silences, such as with Trollwaller's level 25 talent. This means strategies around dispellable breaks and dispellable dispels like the Cyclone effect of Yule's Scepter and Wind Waker fall apart, as Troll and Ursa ult themselves out of those conditions. Shadow Demon is an exception to the rule here as he is in fact one of Ursa's strongest counterpicks, due to Demonic Purge being undispellable. In its basic form, it continually dispels Overpower off of Ursa, and then with the upgraded Scepter ability, it also breaks Fury Swipe so he can neither attack quickly nor build up damage. As a Shadow Demon enjoyer, it's one of my favourite matchups to play along with seeing a Shadow Fiend on the enemy team. Finally, the two heroes who are hard countered by break. Since Enchantress doesn't typically like to purchase dispels for herself, breaking her not only suppresses her untouchable ult, which usually makes physical damage heroes unable to deal much damage to her at all, but it also stops the passive procs of her overprotective wisps, who often come to her aid when she gets bursted, and allows her to live through engagements many other heroes would die to. Viper is one of Enchantress's most reliable counterpicks, and she tends to come out in the first phase, allowing Viper to be picked for an undispellable break to enable the enemy team to feed on her with ganks. Do keep in mind that since the break of Silver Edge requires an initial attack to activate the effect, it will take longer to initially apply Silver Edge's break to Enchantress than it would to other heroes, due to Untouchable still being active before the damage connects. The same goes when playing Nyx Assassin into Enchantress and applying break to her with Vendetta. Finally, Huskar's bread and butter is keeping himself on low HP so that Berserker's Blood can have maximum effect, giving him additional attack speed and insane HP regen and magic resistance values. This is typically combined with armlet toggling for extra damage and continuous bursts of HP right as he needs them. By breaking Huskar, you disable all of these benefits of being on low health, and turn his ideal game on its head. Unlike other heroes, Huskar is typically a hero who you want to break partway through a fight once his health gets low, rather than a hero you want to open a fight by breaking, as his health is usually high and he won't be getting much benefit from Berserker's Blood at that point. Do also keep in mind that life break dispels, which is something else to play around. Waiting to use your break is helpful when playing Viper, as well as other heroes with a dispellable break like Hoodwink or Nyx Assassin. Shadow Demon with a combined 12-second duration of undispellable break can often just open with a Demonic Purge and then continue to kite out so Huskar can't go on him directly, before chaining a second charge of Demonic Purge 6 seconds later. In a similar vein, Doom with his 25 talent can usually just blink and Doom Huskar and then immediately start fighting and killing him, since Doom pierces debuff immunity, so even if Huskar uses BKB, he will remain broken and unable to fight back sufficiently. With both Enchantress and Huskar, the additional utility of a Heaven's Halberd for a 5-second disarm can be another decent means to deal to these two ranged heroes. Break is never the only answer. We hope this video has helped you understand how Silver Edge and the break mechanic actually work. As always, if you have any questions or think there's anything we missed, please let us know in the comments below, and I or a member of the team will endeavour to get back to you as soon as we can. Make sure to check out this video if you haven't already, where we discuss another aspect of the game we all love. Good luck and happy gaming.